We're here today talking with Gary Texter about his book, Finding Hope Within the Crisis: Lessons Learned in Life, including my 9-month COVID journey. Gary, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today.
Thanks. It's great to be with you today, Scott. Um, to share a little bit about the book. Basically, it's a book about hope, and in it, it's my life story, and in it, I tell a little bit about the different times in life that I found God's hope. And um, to me, God is the source of all hope. And God works through good people to show us his hope as well, depending upon what situation we're in. Um, and I found that he sends the right people at the right time to show us that he's there and he's there with hope. Um, a lot of the story is about the my journey with COVID. However, um, to put it in context, I share with you about how I've been with God throughout my entire life and how God was there for me, as He always is. Um, so whatever you call God, God is God, and He's with us, and He gives us encouragement to do the right thing throughout life. And so there's part of my journey before COVID. I think of life now in terms of before COVID and after COVID. But I learned a lot early in life, but and God provided me with the right people at the right time during the COVID thing to show me His hope.
Yeah, and so you mentioned a lot of it is surrounding that 9-month recovery and the journey through that, but there's also other lessons that you're sharing in there.
Yeah.
At what point after you've recovered, you faced COVID, battled it, long recovery, was it during that recovery or was it afterwards where you kind of were inspired and thought about maybe I should share this and share my message of hope with others? Kind of talk us through that
Yeah.
process.
Sure. I think it was a gradual. It was no like one day that, oh, today I'm going to write a book, but um, it was a gradual process. I was just so grateful for everything that was being done for me. I was 70 days on a ventilator, um, and I found myself waking up at a place many many miles away. I started out at my gosh, the journey began locally at the hospital here by Middletown, New York, and then with the 70 days on the ventilator and not coming to a way to get me out of the coma, because again with COVID, I couldn't breathe, and I was sent up to Albany Med, and there they were able to discover it was COVID encephalitis of the brain and the spinal cord. So that was the start of me of a recovery, and then I was sent down to a place in Wayne, New Jersey, um, uh, to uh, to actually get myself weaned off the ventilator, and then that's when I started seeing these kind people surrounding my bed, and I said, my God, God is with me, and my simple prayer back then, because I was choking on secretions, and not to bore you with all that part, but the kindness that was displayed to me, and so I saw God's hope through those people, and then became more and more awake and aware of my surroundings as I got to Friedwald Nursing Home and rehab down in New City, New York. And then I started getting a little bit of my personality back, you know, um, and uh, and I saw just the goodness in them and the frustrating times, but also that they weren't going to give up on me, and that was God's message coming through to me. And I knew I had a church in Bloomingburg praying for me. I had people around the world praying for me, and I was manifesting through these beautiful people working with me to get me to the point where I could from only I could move this one finger about an eighth of an inch in either direction. That was my total movement on the body, to the physical therapy people working with me, and 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 the speech therapy. So I had to relearn how to swallow, all that kind of stuff. Who but God could do all of that, to work for them and to give them the strength, to deal with what was going on for me. So it was a gradual build that I want to give back here somehow. And some of the people down there at Friedwald said, you don't know how to write a book. I said, who me? Who am I? I've never written a book. But I said, you know what? If it's meant to be, God will give me what I need. God will give it to you. Anyone out there, And so if I can write a book, I think you can too if you're listening to this. And um, because it's real. There's no made up characters in this book. These are real people. It's my life story, and it's about how God is working in my life through others, and showing me that wonderful thing called hope and love, And so that's why, no, that's when I started to think about it. When I was at Friedwald, but I couldn't even hold a pencil, or pen or anything for a while. So when I got home, I said, "Yeah, I'll do that someday." And then my friend Charlie said, "You said you're going to write a book. You ever going to do it?" And I said, maybe I should, and let me do it. And so then, in the months recovering at the house after the 9 months between the 4 different hospitals and the nursing home, I said, let me use the time wisely, and I started. I said, where am I going to start? And I sat in Starbucks one day and I said, let me write down a couple of thoughts on a steno pad. And I started with that. And then I said, where am I going to write it? Do I have to go away? Maybe do I have to go on an island someplace? How is it going to be quiet enough for me? And I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. So I wrote it right here in my study in Bloomingburg, on the computer. And eventually it started taking shape. And God gave me what I needed, Like, we have no strength. None of us do, right?
Yeah.
But God provides the strength that we need.
Yeah. So it's just an amazing journey, and you talk a lot about it in the book, and just what would you say to readers, to listeners, to our audience today? What is kind of the purpose behind, or as we're closing up, anything else you want to share with us about the book? But we were talking beforehand, and kind of one overarching purpose and theme for you, it seemed like, in
Yeah,
writing this book.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's a book about hope, and I want to bring God's hope to everyone, you know, throughout the world. And God to me is the source of all hope, and God works through such wonderful people to show us that hope. We need to be God's hope for others, just as others are God's hope for us. And so if I leave the viewer with any message, it's that God is our hope. Bring that hope to others, and always look for hope through God.
You can find Gary's book, Finding Hope Within the Crisis. It's available online through Amazon, through Barnes and Noble. It's also available as a Kindle version. If you like to read on a device or on a Kindle, it's available through the Books app on iTunes. You can find out more information as well through his publisher, Christian Faith Publishing. He's got a webpage on there as well if you want to visit that. Gary, thank you so much for taking time to visit with us and share about your book today.
Thank you, Scott, and God bless everyone out there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.